Let's get right off the top. Ollie was a smelly boy yesterday.
Yeah, I came home and I had to tell Sam the whole saga of
Same. That's the first thing I did when I got to my mom, is told her the full story.
The full poop saga. Because it was a time.
We take Ollie for a walk, and I don't know at what point this happens, but he's got the worst sense of his body and space of any dog that I've ever met. And I got so lucky with Emma, because Emma will never step on poop or pee. Like, she's so dainty and lady like. Ollie's just like, rah, 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 just jumping. Like, at one point he's eating diarrhea, like, early on as a puppy. I'm like, oh my God, you're such a boy. So we are headed out to go into the city before Sarah has to take her train. I've got to take the plane out. And I'm like, Sarah, I smell poop. Did one of us step in poop? And I'm like smelling my t-shirt. I'm like, my t-shirt smells like poop. What's going on? We give Ollie a bottom bath. He's hating it. He starts to shake it off. He's walking around and put his leash and harness back on him. And I'm like, I still am getting whiff of poop. What is going on? We give him another bath. We see parts of the poop on his bottom that I must have missed. I thought I missed. There's some poop on one of my items of clothing. I'm thinking it's on my bag. So we wash him again. This is a full hour out of the day to try to figure out, because you cannot be on a plane with Ollie in my lap smelling like dog shit. Okay,
and there was a whiff of poop. For sure.
Whiff. Every time he would
we were like in the Uber and it was like, I smell poop.
And I'm like smelling his whole body. And I'm like, I don't smell it. I'm smelling my body. I'm smelling Sarah's body. It's a fucking fiasco. And then we sit down. Sarah gets a tea. I get a juice. And like at one point she had picked him up and there was like poop on her fingers. And she's like, oh God, so he's still poopy. And then we realized what had happened. Ollie got a big old caked on piece of poop to the leash. Oh yeah, we solved the mystery of the poop. And it was so gross, so disgusting. And thankfully it got solved, because it was a great mystery.
It was a great mystery. That's for sure. I felt like I was still phantom smelling it.
Same.
For the rest of the day.
It starts to tweak you out. You're like,
I got home and I was like, I looked at Sam and I was like, do I smell like poop? And she was like, huh?
I was terrified someone on the plane was going to be like, hey,
you smell like poop.
Did your dog poop? And then there was a cat right in front of me on the plane, literally. On the aisle. I'm on the aisle. Ollie's and the person.
A cat?
On the aisle. On the lap. Somehow he didn't discover it. There's a 3-year-old in the window seat in front of me on his iPad, just screaming nonsense at the top of his lungs, like, egg bucket, and you're like, what? And it's probably something he's learning on the iPad, and I'm like, get your kid.
I'm a hot girl, I get anything I want, this is my world, I make big moves in my big heels, since the day that I was born, I've been a big deal, I'm a hot girl, I get anything.
Welcome to Let Her Shoot, the only podcast that covers women's sports the way that we want them covered. No dog poop, no bullshit, no kid gloves, Sarah, just respect for the game, the way that we want it played, all the respect for the athletes and the fans. Some tennis hardos didn't think that we were respecting the culture and
which is just wrong.
Also,
could not be more wrong.
You're looking for fans, right? So let's not be so snobby about the entertainment value. Sarah Chovnik here, which I can't even say without my Siri pulling it up. Sarah Chovnik here. 2-time Emmy Award-winning producer. Trista Crick here. 0-time Emmy Award-winning or nominated talent, although that's debatable. If you're liking our stuff. Yeah, the coffee culture piece in Korea, that was mine. And
I know, you just won't ever let it go, and I just think that
if you're liking our stuff, if you're liking our stuff, subscribe. Smash that subscribe button on YouTube. Follow us. Comment, whether that's iHeart, Spotify, Apple, all of them, whatever one you use it on, and then more. find us, follow us, and follow us on TikTok and Instagram at The Daily W Sports. Sarah, what's on tap for today?
Well, we just got back from the U.S. Open, as we were saying, which was an exciting adventure. We're going to bring you along for the ride. We went and we saw Taylor Townsend. We saw Aryna. We saw Amanda Anisimova. We saw Venus, which was probably the highlight of my week, was seeing Venus. I want to get all your thoughts. I'm going to give you all my thoughts. Plus, we're going to have an immediate reaction to the match of the tournament, I think arguably in Coco Gauff versus Naomi Osaka. And I think that the winner of that match is ultimately going to determine who goes to the finals. I think we both have that feeling. And we're going to switch gears, talk a little bit WNBA. The playoff picture is kind of finally taking shape. We know who the top 4 teams are. And we know who's going to be the rest of the teams, but we don't know exactly what order we're going to fall in. And there's also one bubble team that we're going to look at, see if they've got a shot of getting in still. Plus, the NWSL is on the verge, on the eve of losing another major name. And we got to talk about it because we're getting back to that MLS narrative of what are we doing? But first,
oh, never mind. You're already there. I jumped the gun. You jumped
my gun. First, I want to give a big shout out to the newest dub clubbers, the newest members of the dub club. We had some,
or the Kashunity,
whichever one you want to call it. But we had some big ones that I think we were starstruck over. Starstruck. Tell us who they were.
Wanda Sykes, a legendary comedian. Legendary.
Awesome.
Big time supporter of women's sports. Here was a big one that shocked the fuck out of me. Billie Jean King. When I put into my Lyft where we were going to the U.S. Open, you know where we were going? To Billie Jean King Stadium. That's how fucking money
her facility. Yeah,
she was
we
out
were going
here
to her facility, and she's following us. She's following us on Instagram. Is she crazy? Why is she following us?
And to your point, Sarah, about the star in the NWSL that maybe they're going to lose, we got U.S. Women's National Team coach, manager. Consult your manager, Emma Hayes.
What? Fucking Hayes. Are you kidding me? Okay, we have to talk about this for a second. We got to talk about this for a second because so we go to the U.S. Open and we're trying our hand at vlogging, which is not really. Sam encouraged the vlogging, right? Because she's like, that's what people do. And you and I are we're a little older than the vlogging community, probably. And you know,
that's not true.
Yeah, it's true.
No, vlogging is not a new concept.
Okay.
What we have now, I don't think you know this, and I know this is going to sidetrack us, but I've always wanted to vlog. I just didn't know how to edit.
How to do it?
I didn't know how to, I know how to capture the footage. I just don't know what to do with said footage.
Speaking of that for a second, of capturing the footage, we thought we were doing a really great job of capturing the footage for a vlog until the end of it, and Sam goes, you know that you were supposed to do this in horizontal, not vertical, right? Because YouTube is horizontal. And I went, oh no.
Oh, rough. Oh no. What are we going to do, Sarah?
What are we going to do? So we were shocked
yikes.
To learn that Emma Hayes watched our vlog from the U.S. Open. I don't know what she was. I'm sorry, Emma. If you're still here, if you haven't abandoned us yet.
That was literally me dancing to Kendrick Lamar. And then I went back to like see if it was real. And I was like, was this a fever dream? Because then I looked at the list of who watched that story again, and she wasn't on that list. And I'm like, can you take a watch back?
No, it was still there. It was still there. Okay. It was still there. You just missed it. It was still there. Emma Hayes watched our reel. Watched
our story, vlog. Which is actually more impressive, is that she was like, not only am I following these guys, I'm going to go ahead and watch their their unhinged story at the US Open, which has nothing to do. She was probably hoping that we were going to talk about Angel City, I bet. She's like, I wonder if these people are going to bury Angel City for how much of broke bitches they might be.
I know you said that. We talked about that. And I said, what do you think? Do you think Emma Hayes would want to come on the show? And you said, I want to ask her about these broke bitches over in LA. Let's start though with the US Open, because that was, I think we both agree that was like a top 5 sporting event experience for us personally. At least in the last decade.
Honestly, I wonder why I never have gone before. I guess I just didn't really know. I thought that I didn't know about this grounds pass. Okay? And I know that the grounds pass.
Let's explain what the ground pass is.
I will in just a second. Okay? I will. And can you just stop fucking, okay? Anyway, I didn't know that there was such a thing as a grounds pass. And I will get to that in a second. All I thought you had to do, that you could only do, was buy a ticket to the individual matches that you wanted to see. So I thought if you were going to go for the whole day, that they were going to ticket you for every single match that you watched. But no, there is something called a grounds pass, which you pay money just to get onto the grounds, and you can see tennis anywhere except for the legendary Arthur Ashe, which I would say, and I was poo-pooing when people were giving me this advice, these pro tips. Oh, you don't really need to go into Arthur Ashe. And I was like, excuse me, you're just saying that because I'm a broke bitch and I can't get into Arthur Ashe. But I need to get into Arthur Ashe. And we did. And then I was like, kind of a letdown, honestly. Important to see once. Don't really need to see it much moving forward.
I think it depends solely on the matchup that's going on.
Yes.
In Arthur Ashe, because like if we were there today, we'd want to be in Arthur Ashe, because I would hate nothing more than being on those grounds knowing that Naomi versus Coco is going on in a place that I cannot see it, and just like I would get the worst FOMO hearing that crowd and being like, oh, I can't go in though, you know?
Yeah, that's true. That is true. In general though, I was wondering to myself, what have I been doing with my life?
But for an early round.
How have I not been going to the US Open every single late August, early September? I needed to carve this out, and will be carving this out moving forward. What a phenomenal fan experience that was. Even if you didn't watch a lick of tennis, which that would be a shame. You don't even need to. And during the finals, Sarah, I bet you don't know about this, because I just found out about it today, is during the finals when it's only at Arthur Ashe, and Adrian can fact check me if I'm wrong. I'm sure she knows whether I'm not or not. Since the only tennis that is taking place is on Arthur Ashe, you can get a grounds pass, which to the quote-unquote fan fest, $25.
Oh, wow. And you can just like go in and watch on those screens outside?
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. That's like totally worth. I think like if you can't spring for the tickets for the final, because I mean, let's be real.
And there's a concert.
Who can? Like, oh, and there's a concert. Like, it's because like, you know, tickets to Arthur Ashe are they're steep.
But
right?
also
they're steep.
And we're putting this out later. Blair Henley, friend of pod, early podcast Dub Club member,
big friend of pod, said,
hey, if you get a ticket to Arthur Ashe, sometimes that's actually cheaper than the grounds pass.
Yeah, she did. Early rounds. You get a ticket to Arthur Ashe.
Right now.
Sure. But I'm saying like early rounds when you've got, as our producer Adrian has, you know, she's a lot more, you know, knowledgeable about the inner workings of the US Open than we are. And she told us, you know, hey, just remember, there's a lot of really good matches that are going on the outside courts, on court 17, on the grandstand, you know, that you don't have to go to Armstrong or Ashe. You can go elsewhere and you can see really good tennis. We saw Anisimova in the grandstand, and that was a great match.
But my point is, you don't even have to go into Ashe in order to take advantage of the fact that if the Ashe gets you in to the grounds, and it's sometimes $50, $75. It depends on the day. But yesterday when I looked for Monday, it was $230 for the worst ticket at Ashe and it was $280 to get into the grounds. So you should just literally get the ticket to Ashe, which gives you access to the grounds all day. It was just a pro tip. Great job, Blair. Thank you for that. I will definitely keep that in mind moving forward.
What was your highlight of the week? Like, give me your top moment. What was the thing that stood out to you that you were like, wow, just wow?
I think the number one thing I didn't realize was, holy shit, Leylah Fernandez is probably 100 pounds soaking wet. And she might end up, there's two. It's this and then one more. It's tied. Leylah Fernandez, because we saw her twice, 100 pounds soaking wet. The amount of power that she generates, her shot variety, the dog in her, how she
got
went
the dog
toe to toe with literally the number one player in the world, Aryna Sabalenka. Fucking impressive. She didn't back down. She was hitting insane shots, getting in Aryna Sabalenka's head, and then she pairs up. And you can see why she's such a fan favorite. She pairs up with Venus in women's doubles and really is just even more spectacular with Venus in terms of how she's picking up things with Venus, how Venus sort of like has taken her under her wing. And I'm like, she's young, she's hungry, she's tiny. You would just never accept or like think that someone that small was like that powerful and entertaining. And
she's super entertaining.
I have one more, but you can go first on this other one.
No, go ahead.
And then my other one was Taylor Townsend. I was like not really.
Actually, I'm going to stop you.
Okay.
Because we're going to go into Taylor Townsend in a minute.
Okay, so that's why I said let me
all right. So fair enough. I'm going to stop you. Venus was my highlight too. Because as a kid of the 90s, right? Like as a kid who grew up in the 90s, my formative years, watching Serena, watching Venus like come into their own was what put tennis, right, like on the map for our generation. And I never thought, like in my head, I thought that the window to see Venus or Serena, a Williams sister, play anywhere in a stadium like that at the US Open, I thought that opportunity was out the door. I thought it was gone.
Yeah.
And not only did we get to see it, but like earlier that day they had scheduled them for one of the outside courts and then they moved it into Armstrong and we were sitting in prime spot. I mean, we had the best seats we possibly could have had. We were on the first row of general admission on the net and like, I mean, we could not have get better seats. And you got to watch that power of Venus Williams. And it was just like, holy shit, that's Venus Williams.
And like, on top of that,
it was a pure fan moment of being like, holy shit, that's Venus Williams. And she won.
And there's not that many players that when they go down and it looks like they're out, that you still, based on history alone and the pedigree of who they are and what you've known them to do in the past, that I'm like, I don't care that I don't even remember how many games they were down, but it was looking pretty rough. They were down 4-2 in the first set. But just, I never thought for 1 second that they would lose, even despite the fact that most tennis experts would have said that they were underdogs to begin with. So that was really fascinating.
I'd love to see them keep going in this. And like, I don't know enough about the doubles pool to know whether or not they actually have a hope and a prayer of getting close to the finals. But could you imagine them getting to that would be such an incredible experience just for Venus to come back and have that type of run at a major like that. I mean, what an incredible thing to witness.
Absolutely bonkers.
But you're right. We never really and it
went to a tiebreak.
Let me rephrase that. I was going to say we never really doubted them, but we did actually for a minute because we briefly considered leaving to go and find Anisimova in the grandstand. And then we went, maybe we'll just give it. Let's give it the end of this set. and let's see what happens.
And no shade to Anisimova, or as you would say, Anisimova. And I don't really know.
I don't want to always say Anisa.
Like a good Russian, you would do that, wouldn't you? Anyway, just all of your Eastern European,
it
just rolls off the tip of your tongue, you know. So I think she's so great, and we root for her as an American, but with that last name and that style of play, and I watched her, and maybe it was just the end. No shade, but a little shade.
This is shade. This is shade.
It was a little late in the day. We left, and
yeah, we did.
It was kind of at a critical point, and we left because it's maybe, I don't know. She just bores me a little. She just bores me a little.
Oh God.
Just a little. I really like her, but she's not as exciting as a Leylah, as an Aryna. She just doesn't have the melt factor. I need something more, you know? I need and we'll talk about this with Taylor Townsend in a second. I need the eye roll. I need the fake smile. I need the racket throw. I need the demonstration. She just doesn't really give me that. And then there's like the shots that she hits. I don't know. She's just a little technical for me.
Well, we went to the Aryna match. It's funny that you brought that up because I think we both have, like, we both love watching Aryna, which I feel like is, you know, slightly, like, controversial to feel. But I think it's her unpredictability of, like, her reactions. You can see there's a storyline to follow on her face. And I think that's what makes her so fun to watch is that, like, we even posted that clip, right, of Leylah hitting that, you know, little spin, and she just went.
It hits the line, bro. It doesn't even look like it's in at all. And she grabs the bridge of her nose with her fingers. She gives the 100-yard stare.
It was like cue the Curb Your Enthusiasm music right afterwards. Like, it was like, that's what I mean. It's like cinematic. It's a cinematic experience watching her. It's an all immersive experience. You go through those emotions with her, which I think is what I love about watching sports, right? Like, I want to feel the emotions that the person on the court is feeling. And I feel that with Aryna. And I also, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, we also feel that with Naomi Osaka as well. Mm-hmm. Yep. And Naomi Osaka, we didn't even put her down in terms of like who we saw, but she dropped the second set and it started to get a little sweaty. We're not really sure if we're experiencing the mental melt that we have seen from Naomi Osaka before. No shade. We love her. We root for her. We love the Labubus. We love the style. We love everything about her. And the discussion that you, me, Adrian all had was like, so Naomi's not American or she is American? And I won't go into that because that's pretty murky and it will take forever. And
let's talk about all that when we talk about Coco and Naomi because I think that is an element of this match.
Yes, but I think the thing that she said after the match is like, I hope that when I play Coco, you guys embrace me and root for me just a little bit and have adopted me as an honorary American, which until I saw the Japanese flag next to her name, I've always imagined
just to suit
Naomi
as an American.
She's giving America.
She gives American.
Anisimova doesn't give American. You know, she's American, but she doesn't. You hear the name, you see the American flag, you see Naomi, you hear her, you see the Japanese flag, and you're like, one of these things is not like the other.
You know who the Americans do root for hard?
Who?
Taylor Townsend.
Oh my God.
We gotta talk about Tay-Tay.
First and foremost, we have to at least break down, and I know it's a little old and dated, but
how we got here, because there's definitely a storyline as to Taylor's emergence through this tournament, right? Like it's the Taylor train is building.
Correct.
People are hopping on in droves, and it's because of what happened with Ostapenko on Wednesday in the second round when there were, caught on camera, Ostapenko, after the match, was unhappy with her loss and made a comment.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
Yeah, understatement. And made a racially charged comment about Taylor Townsend being uneducated and classless. And that has really rallied people behind Taylor and what I think Taylor represents as an American in this sport.
Well, it's more than that, too. I think it's like this black girl magic thing. And
yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
I think it's like Ostapenko said all these things about Taylor Townsend, and Taylor responded with, I've beaten you everywhere we've played. Listen, I've beaten you in New York. I've beaten you outside of the United States. You're just a sore loser. And then the comments that were made by Naomi Osaka about it, and how Ostapenko, this isn't even close to the worst thing that she's ever said or done, which, holy shit, I didn't know that because I'm not like a hardcore tennis fan. I'm deep into the weeds on that. And so then you're like, okay, because Ostapenko, I don't know how big of an underdog Taylor was, but it was a very intense match. Taylor had
pretty big.
Sort of dig herself out and gets the win. And then we're like, okay, now the lights are on against Andreeva, the number 5 player in the world, this phenom. And we go there and you're like, okay, let's see. What does Taylor have in store? And in my mind, I didn't even know that she was an underdog.
No. And keep in mind, right, it was the late night game in Arthur Ashe. It was like 10 o'clock was when we started that game. And we're in there.
Kind of empty. It's kind of empty.
Yeah, it's like probably like half full, I would say, because Djokovic had just played and everyone, had kind of funneled out, the non-real fans, right? Like the casuals that don't really know that they're supposed to be rooting for Taylor, because of course you're supposed to be rooting for Taylor. So everyone stay your asses in the seat for the women. Don't even get me started. But anyway, we go in and immediately she goes down 1, 2, 3 games.
And you could hear a pin drop, Sarah.
And we were like, oh, what is this
and
about
also,
to be?
This being our first experience at Arthur Ashe, we couldn't tell whether this is just how Arthur Ashe is, where the etiquette is just so on another level that people don't even cheer. I mean, I've heard cheering on TV before, but I don't fucking know. Right. And so it's like, oh, this is kind of weird in here. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, Taylor's game after game, boom, boom, boom. She's getting her swag on. She's literally shrugging her shoulders. Yeah. She's pointing at her team. And
she's yelling. She's turning yelling. Her team. She's screaming, yeah.
Andreeva's clearly sort of in her head. Andreeva's moving her arms out like, what was that? And I'm like, why is she doing that? What's happening?
And we kept talking about that.
And then the crowd starts to bubble and rumble and she starts feeding off of that. And at first, because I was going to say this a little bit earlier, but at first, Taylor's style is very different on the heels of watching Aryna Sabalenka, which she just overpowers you with speed. And like, you just can tell that that's what she wants to do, is sort of have you submit to her will. And sometimes I think that bites her in the ass. But Taylor, it was like almost floaty is the right word. Like a lot of spin and a lot of air and then some stuff on the baseline and definitely a lot of shot variety. But you're like, I don't know if I enjoy this style of play or if this is a good style of play. And then you sort of get into it and you're like, I kind of love this. And she's a lefty, she's a southpaw. And so that kind of fucks with your head a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, oh my God, did she just become my favorite player?
I think that for me, yes. I mean, like, I really, really enjoy watching her. And obviously, like, her loss yesterday was a heartbreaker. I mean, I was literally, I was so locked in. I was watching it on the subway with, like, on my phone and, like, screaming and people were, But there's something that's so relatable about Taylor Townsend. right? Like there's something about her that is so like you can watch her and be like, oh, she's so me for that. Like she's so me for that. Like her reaction to that. She'll laugh at her own mistakes. She, you know, she gets fired up for the things she's got to get fired up about.
She rolls her eyes.
She rolls her eyes. Yeah, she's just like, she's so, you're so able to connect with her on a level where you feel like she's your friend that you're rooting for. That I think that has what really has made her, for at least for me and probably for others, a very easy one to say, oh, she's my favorite now. You know?
And you can tell that it's like, yes, she's been a star. Because I put this in the group chat, like, wow, she's just became a superstar. And Adrian, our producer, is like, no, she's been one. And I'm like, yeah, she's definitely been one for like tennis fans. But she, kind of like Angel Reese in the NCAA championship game with the "You Can't See Me," that's sort of controversy, and then winning that Andreeva match has like heightened our casual fans' awareness where we're now rooting for her. Right. And then you're like, on top of that, she knows who she is. She's hyper confident. She's very swaggy. She has her little notebook. She does all these little quirky things in between matches where you're like, she's got her like, I think candy inside this little like Whole Foods salad box.
Yeah, she was like
eating out of.
She's like just munching on like
nibbling,
nuts.
And like nobody's really eating during the match.
No, I love it.
Which I mean, I'm sure you do because you're always eating during the show or before.
Yeah,
the show.
I'm always. You're always eating too. Just FYI.
Okay, so we're okay. We're women in arms with Taylor Townsend eating during the sport. So I just think people connect with her because it's so clear that she knows who she is. Where like
yes,
someone
that's
like,
what it is. That's what it is. Taylor knows who she is.
And she's a mom, and I think that helps. And like, so is Naomi Osaka, but I think Naomi Osaka just doesn't quite. I think Naomi Osaka is so concerned with how people perceive her that she's not just living as her. So it kind of is like, is this Naomi or is this version Naomi? Where every time Taylor's going to give you that side of Taylor that we've grown to really love.
Speaking of like her really knowing herself, she had this quote from her, I'm assuming it was either from her press conference or her post-match interview last night. And she said, you know, I don't think this is an accident. If I pull back, I don't look at this as adversity or a bad thing. It stings and it hurts because I gave everything. When you give everything, you want a different result, right? Ultimately, I know that this is going to take me to another level. That is that last sentence, right? Like, I know that this is going to take me to another level. That's that, like, I know who I am. I know what I've done. I know what I need to work on. It's not this, like, arrogance of like, oh, I got here on a whim and I'm just so happy to be here. It's like, no, I got here because I deserve to be here. I lost because it's going to make me better.
Well, that's not why she lost.
No. Sorry. I lost and it's going to make me better. And I'm on the right path. I know where I'm going. This is not a fluke.
She has all the skill to be a top 10 player in all of women's tennis. When she's playing at the height of her game, she can beat top 5 winners. When she played against Barbora Krejcikova, and who's a fucking beast, 2-time quote-unquote Grand Slam winner, because I don't like that we call it Grand Slams. Grand Slams are the whole fucking salami.
I like major. Blair said major is okay.
I like that. So anyway, she's playing Krejcikova, who clearly is really on her bullshit, had a horrible first set, and then starts playing the way that, not we know because I don't really know her, but like that she's known to play. And that clearly took Taylor out of her game. That clearly, I saw her starting, you know, when she played Andreeva, she's laughing when she makes mistakes. She's like, that's so me. I've got this. I saw tears in Taylor's eyes. I saw her visibly shaken. Her dad or her coach, after I think the second set, when they went into that insane tiebreak, which lasted like fucking a whole hour. It felt like, I think it was 20 minutes. he's pumping her up and being like, listen, you need to play your game. She's not getting into her first serve. Her second serve is like 60 miles an hour, which, listen, I don't know shit about tennis. I know 60 is not going to get it done, my girl. So if she continues to play within her identity, and then you're the type of talent in terms of like charisma and star power, the sky is the limit for Taylor Townsend.
By the way, you just were talking about the 60 mile an hour serve. And before we move on to Naomi and Coco, I want to point out something that I noticed. Venus is still serving over 100 miles an hour.
It's fucking crazy. It's incredible. It's incredible.
I don't even have words. I just wanted everyone to be aware of that fact because that is mind-boggling to me. So let's talk about this. Naomi and Coco. This was kind of like the match build, right? Like this was the hype match. This was the American versus the American, right? Like Naomi's American.
They both trained in Florida at the same facility. Naomi watched Coco turn from a minnow to a full-fledged fish swimming in the tennis waters right before her very eyes. They saw each other 6 years ago when Coco upset Osaka. They played when Coco was 15 as well. I mean, the whole setup has been kind of in the making. Both have fired their coaches recently. Coco fired her coach a week before the Open. Naomi Osaka just fired Patrick Monteglou, I forget how to pronounce his name, and then hired Iga Swiatek's coach, which has really been helpful for her because both players actually are kind of like little baby head cases to a degree.
They both kind of have little meltdowns sometimes.
And then on Wednesday, Coco had a full-on meltdown in the middle of the match, crying, trying to figure out a way to muster some sort of inspiration. You had just the crowd going crazy, and Simone Biles was in the crowd, and that is what apparently sort of turned things around. Like I said, just got a new coach a week before the tournament. So you knew when you change basically your swing, like in golf terms, it's a very frustrating thing to do when you're headed into a major. I always say that the majors, and I think this is applicable probably to quote unquote grand slams in tennis as well, is like that's a place to have all your tools in the box, right?
Yeah, you don't want to be working through the kinks at the majors. No
tools. Try to figure out a way to find your swing or find your serve or find your forehand, find your backhand in the middle of like the number one tournament. I mean, it's Wimbledon, but I think probably for U.S. fans and for U.S. players, it's the U.S. Open. Arthur Ashe. So
New York City.
It's kind of fucking nuts that both of them have been changing major parts of their game like less than a month ago.
It's interesting because now, correct me if I'm wrong, which you will, but
I will.
Which we know you will. But Naomi, right? We've seen this roller coaster. Let's go back real quick. So for those who haven't seen the result of the match, Naomi kind of...
No, she beat that ass.
She beat the ass. And I think
can I give some stats?
Yes, but let me just finish this thought.
Okay. Sorry.
Let me just finish this thought real quick.
I thought you were moving.
What I noticed in this, right, was a looser Naomi. Not as much of a head case Naomi, where I think that we used to see kind of the unraveling and the coming apart and the
even last match when she dropped set 2.
Right. But she seems like maybe we've got a little more like inner body work Naomi going on now. Like some like...
Oh, I think that's this match only. I think she's...
You think? Okay.
Oh, she's headed to a showdown with Iga Swiatek, who I think will test every bit of mental toughness that she has in her fiber. Swiatek is a robot. She's AI. Her shots are crazy. She has no. It's almost like she has no emotion whatsoever, and so I think it's really just this match. I don't know that she found anything. I hope she found something. But I don't think she will find anything because we saw it last match. She was already started. The wheels were starting to fall off in that second set where she gave it up and then she re-found it again. I don't think her mental is solid yet at all.
Before we look ahead to that Iga match, let's talk about this Coco match. You were talking about some stats. Throw some stats at me.
All right. So first and foremost, what I will say is at the time that I wrote this down, I don't think there was any more after this. Coco had 28 unforced errors. Visibly
there were a lot.
Frustrated. It wasn't so much because she hired this new coach to fix her serve. I thought her serve looked pretty damn good, actually. It was really... It was the forehand. It's almost like the pull of a golf shot. When you use your wrists and then you try to correct without using any wrists and then things start to go the other direction. She didn't have it, you know?
Right.
And I think the crowd's trying to clap Coco back into it. Osaka only lost 1 point on serve. 1 fucking point. That's like Swiatek, Anisimova, Wimbledon type shit.
You're right.
It was 4-1 unforced errors in Coco's favor. 4 unforced errors for every 1 unforced error for Naomi.
And I think I think, you know, while I think both of these two are crowd favorites at the U.S. Open, right? Like I think that Naomi is a favorite in whoever she would play, with the exception of Coco or like a Taylor Townsend, which we won't see her play. But I think going into that, I think the crowd was wanting to lean more on Coco, right? And I think very early on the match, you kind of noticed that it wasn't going to go Coco's way. And the crowd got a little taken out of it. And I think that deflated Coco maybe a little bit.
Yes. The deflated.
You know, it just sort of like, you just didn't see that fire like in her where she would...
There was
hit
no
one into the net.
Pump. There was no fist pump.
There was no energy.
Racket, Sarah. She took the racket to the concrete. I was like, oh yeah, she's fucked up in the game. You know how I knew she was fucked up in the game? She asked for the match to be in the day.
Yeah, that was an interesting little... Because I was really floored to see that this was not the prime time. Like... I thought for sure when we were talking about it the other day and we said...
7:30 Ashe.
Yeah, we said that's for sure going to be the primetime game on Ashe. Like, or match. I keep saying game. The primetime match on Ashe was going to be Coco versus Naomi because that is the most billable match that you could get out of this U.S. Open. Right? Yeah. Like, I can't think of a more billable...
Dinner time? Come on!
But instead, we got a Monday at 3 p.m., which is a little weird.
It's weird, and apparently Coco asked for it, which means she's not ready. She's like on the precipice of a meltdown. Didn't want to be in the lights at Ashe on Monday night. She wanted to be under the radar, and I think that fucked her over. I think when you know that you're going up against a player that also has the ability to emotionally crumble, and I really mean this in the nicest way, because like I like them both. I like Naomi. I really don't mean this in a way to shade either one, but Naomi has the ability to take herself mentally out of a match as well.
We've seen it, yeah.
And so if you know that that's a possibility by being on Ashe at night, you must really not trust anything that's going on with yourself. I think she knew she was going to lose, tried to put her best effort forward, and said before the tournament, listen, I don't expect anything. I literally just changed everything a week before this tournament. I'm just going to go out and have fun. But she was not feeling easy breezy. I'm just going to go out and have fun.
Yeah, even in the tunnel before they came out, you could kind of see it like on her face.
Yeah.
You know? Where it was just sort of like...
Deer
kind
in
of like
headlights.
deer in yeah, it was like a little like she didn't have a smile on her face. Like she looked stressed even going into the game. Like she wasn't like she was about to like projectile vomit. Like it just was like it just wasn't. I didn't get the feeling that like Coco was walking onto Arthur Ashe with everything in her toolkit, like you said.
If you didn't know anything about both these players, and you said one of these players is number 3 in the world, and the other one is just fighting to get a spot back in the world ranking, you would think that the rankings were flipped.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, this is Naomi's biggest win by ranking in a major. Ever in a major.
Or like since...
Ever.
But she used to be like number 1.
No, in terms of ranking disparity, in terms of beating...
Oh, in disparity, got it.
Yeah, like, this is her biggest win in a major in terms of she's 23, this other player's 3. It's her biggest, most, impressive, quote-unquote, win in terms of, like, being the underdog in a major.
Yeah, because I think Naomi for a long time was not the underdog. She was the top dog. And, she's now playing from an underdog position, and she's playing an underdog position going into this match against Iga, which is, like you said, you're kind of anticipating a bloodbath.
She's going to fuck her up. I'm going to look and see what the line is, right? Oh, I don't think Iga's played yet. As this is being taped, I don't think Iga's even played the gal.
We're just going to assume she's going to move.
Iga's the best in the world to me.
Yeah.
The things that
I think she's the best in the world to many people.
Yes, Aryna Sabalenka has the number 1 overall
technically the best
ranking, but Iga coming off of that Wimbledon win, which was not her surface, she's not a grass player, and to play like that on grass, she's beating anyone's ass. It's just I think I have Osaka 12-1 to win the tournament, but I'm gonna probably hedge and take a lot of Iga in this next match.
Let's I just looked at the bracket. So actually, technically, Naomi has one more match to get through before she even gets to Iga. So yes. So Iga they both have to win their quarterfinals to play each other. So we don't even know that we're going to get that.
I think that's what we're getting. But listen, I would not be shocked if Naomi doesn't even make it to Iga.
It's possible.
Wouldn't be shocked.
It's very possible. It's very possible, but we're on kind of like a crash course right now for a potential Sabalenka, Iga final, which would be unsurprising.
Iga right now is the odds-on favorite from Vegas to win the tournament at just over at 1.5 to 1 plus 150. Sabalenka is 2 to 1, so it's pretty close. But I don't think it's going to be that close. I think the power.
You put some money on Naomi, didn't you?
I did at 12 to 1. That's
so there's part of you that thinks there's a small possibility.
Well, I hadn't seen the draw. To be fair with
I
didn't know she was going to see Iga this early. So
fair.
It's a wrap. I looked at the draw today and I was like, oh well, that's just money down the drain.
I mean, it was like what, $10?
Shut the fuck up, bro. Like you don't need to be telling everybody how much money I'm putting on anything. It's 12 to 1. Listen, I bought poke bowls for all this weekend, so they were $50 a piece or whatever it was. So just relax on telling people my bet size. How dare you?
We could see another Iga Anisimova matchup, which
yes, that is what it's setting up to be. Really,
it is. It is setting up to be that.
I think it's ass to like hold your ankles, Amanda. It's going down. I think though the one girl that I like is that Barbora Czech chick. She's got the makings to fuck some shit up, and I think she could beat Aryna Sabalenka. What we saw against Taylor Townsend, the shots, the big shots, Bob, the big shot bobs, you know what I mean? Like when it's a critical point and it's match point and she's hitting it on the line, ballsy, corner, base, what are we doing? Down the line, cross court, on the line? What are we doing?
But she's got to get through Pegula.
I'm not an Amanda Pegula fan. I'm not a
Jessica.
I was talking about Amanda Anisimova, but yes, Jessica Pegula fan. I think it's like she's fine.
Yeah, but that's an unseeded player making it all the way to the.
She's won 2 Grand Slams. She's just.
Yeah, but she's unseeded.
So was Naomi Osaka in other years. I don't care about seeding. I care about what I'm watching on the court. Let me show you about how the real ones do it. They watch what's happening in tennis right now.
What an expert.
And what we said, yeah, no, okay. Like, watches 4 matches.
Watches 4 matches and is an expert.
And she thinks she can run this shit. No, but I trust what I see with my eyes, which is form. I think if you see what Babora, and I'm butchering the last name, so we're going to call her Babora the Czech. When you see what Babora the Czech was doing in set 2 and in set 3 against Taylor Townsend, you say, oh, she can beat almost anyone in the world. This is why she won 2 majors already. So I think she won a U.S. Open before.
So is it safe to say that your pick of the tournament, I don't want to step on your toes, but is it safe to say is Iga?
Oh, yeah, it's not close.
It's Iga and it's not even close.
I would be absolutely shocked at this point if anyone beat Iga. Shocked.
And you know what? I think that's a fair take. I think that's a fair. I
sent you a link, Sarah, of this
of the drop shot.
Backhand drop shot as soft as holding a
dozen. It's kind of like it's kind of like freak of nature-y.
I don't even know how you do that. The things that she's able to do, and you talk about her mental. Her mental has got to be the strongest of anyone in the tournament.
I want to talk about that mental thing that you're talking about right there, because I do think that to me is like super significant, because what I think is hard to gauge when you're watching highlights that you see live is the reaction time, right? Like how quick that reaction time has to be. And you see it on the TV, but I don't think you really get until you're like in person and you're watching it and you have to react.
I know, we go to one tournament and we think you have to go to the tournament in order to see. I agree though. I agree.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that reaction time, right? Like to know to hit that little soft bat. How do you even process that in the time that you have? Like, how are you planning that shot out?
Exactly. Did you ever see the Queen's Gambit?
I did not see that.
You didn't see the Queen's Gambit? That's such a show for you.
I know.
It's your show.
It's about, but it's chess.
No, it's not about chess. It's nothing about chess. It's nothing about chess. You were watching immediately back to me. Okay. You still haven't watched the Taurasi doc. You told me you're going to watch.
All right, let's focus.
That's what I get from Iga, because it's like she's 17 steps ahead. You think that she's doing one thing, but she's just lulling you one way to set something else up.
Exactly.
And you're playing. And so the reaction time, she's already plotted out what you're going to do and what she's going to do and what you're going to do. And then that sets up what she needs to do.
When you watch it, right? Like, because again, this is something that I feel like you don't get on TV, because you're rarely ever seeing like full court, you know, like, or at least seeing like facial, like, what's wild to me is like, right, when they hit a certain shot and then they know before it's even crossed over the net exactly where they need to place themselves to return yes. And it's like that forethinking of like knowing exactly what the shot that I just hit is going to land here, and it's going to force them to hit this shot back to me, which means I need to be right here for it.
So
and that's
to the mental, when you start second guessing your planning, when you start changing where you're going to hit the ball midway, which Coco did multiple times, changing it like balls to the racket, and you were headed here, and now you decide last second to hit here, and it's directly into the net, you're dead. You are absolutely dead.
And it's almost like it's the difference between watching Iga or watching Aryna.
Aryna's got the same.
Let's just leave her out of it then. It's like watching it. it's that watching Iga, right? And you're watching and you're like, oh my, this is a machine, right? Like this is pre-planned. She's got
Sinner.
all of this in the bag.
Yannick Sinner is the same way. And I honestly...
Well, we're not talking about, that's a man.
I know, but what I'm saying is I think some of these Eastern Europeans outside of Aryna Sabalenka, they're just built like little robots. And the American players have a high variance of mental.
Well, and so that's what I was getting with Coco in this match. It almost felt like Coco was just hitting whatever came her way just to stay in it. And it was just the wheels were starting to come off throughout on different parts of her game, on her forehand, on her backhand, on, and I think that as that was unraveling, you could see that mental unravel in her mind. And it just was like...
The mental unravel in her mind.
The mental unravel in her mind. And I think that what Naomi had over Coco today was not necessarily anything other than the mental.
You know what it was, too? If I go into there and I'm Naomi, I'm thinking in my head, this bitch just changed everything a week ago.
Yeah.
I can do what I want to do and set her up to make her even more unsure. If there's anyone who's mentally a little bit more fragile than me, I just watched her fully have an emotional breakdown on the court. I can exploit that. And so Naomi smiled a lot. She looked completely unfazed. She was laughing. It was easy breezy. She's wearing the sparkles. And so I think there's nothing that gives you more confidence than to know, like, this person has no confidence that I'm up against.
My last note before we move on to basketball, but I made a joke earlier, or not a joke. I made a comment earlier because I said, I think I could be a tennis player. I have this thing. Sam makes fun of me all the time that I'm like, yeah, okay. Not anymore, obviously, at my age. But I was saying, I was like, maybe I should have been a tennis player because, all the Eastern Europeans are like so good at tennis. Like maybe I should have been a tennis player. And Sam said, well, you're a little small to be a tennis player. And I said, no, I feel like Iga is pretty small. No, she's not. And then I had to look it up. And
was she 5'10"?
Yeah, she is.
You're the only one who's even a comp is Leylah Fernandez.
I know. And she still
5'6".
probably has like 6 or 7 inches on me.
I think she's 5'6" and you're 5'2". So
I'm not. Every time you say my height, it goes one lower.
I mean, you're just not. You were built to ride a horse. Let's move on.
Wasn't built for tennis. Wasn't built for basketball.
No, or volleyball, or softball, or anything but putting your ass on a horse. Retirement should not be overcomplicated. You should feel like the advice that you're getting fits your life, not someone else's agenda. That is straight talk and a solid strategy, and that's what you get from Fuchs Financial, our guy. Watch Ben's show, How to Retire, on his YouTube page, which we link in the show notes. Thank you to Ben. Seriously, thank you to Ben for believing in what we're doing over here. Our first sponsor, our most important sponsor to date, and we're always going to keep it solid. So go over there and check Ben out.
So moving on to WNBA. Not a lot going on right now in terms of like individual matchups. We're officially in the home stretch, right? We are less than 2 weeks away from playoffs beginning. And we're getting a little bit of that playoff picture finally starting to come together. We've got
Did you not know how to say come together? You got lost.
Yeah, I was just struggling with that. Lynx, Aces, Dream, Mercury have clinched, right? The Liberty, which we're going to get to in a minute because we've got more to say about the Liberty, they're kind of in no man's land right now where they haven't clinched, but they're also not at risk of missing out on they just haven't really solidified their spot and their seed number yet, but it's ticking down. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. But Valkyries, Storm, Fever, Sparks. 4 teams for 3 spots. Who do you like right now in those 3 spots? Do you think the Sparks have any shot of getting in, or is it a little too late for them?
They've played 38 games as of this graphic that I'm seeing, if this is completely up to date.
This was I screenshotted this an hour before the podcast recording. So
okay. And you've got the Fever, who have played 40 games. So, that's tough. That is really tough.
Who they have? Tell me.
So they play the Storm, the Dream twice, and there's 6 games left for them. So yeah, there's 6 games left for them.
Okay.
And I forgot we added games for a second. So they play the Dream twice. They play the Storm, who are hungry. They play the Mercury, the Aces. The only win that you can say definitively that they should have is against the Wings. That's brutal schedule.
Yeah. For the Sparks. This is for the Sparks, coming down the stretch.
And if you look at the Fever, they've played 2 more games. If you look at the Fever, they've played 2 more games, and they play the Sky, the Mystics, the Lynx. The Lynx could be sitting everyone because it's the last game of the season for them, and they're already the number 1 seed, and they don't want to get anybody hurt. And then they play the Mercury tomorrow. So I would probably, just based on strength of schedule alone, say that the Sparks do not make the playoffs, but anything is possible. And the reason that I think so is that the Dream are really neck and neck with the Aces to try to get that 2 seed, which changes everything for them in terms of...
But so are the Mercury. So are the Mercury.
Yes, but they play the Dream twice. And the Dream are wanting that 2 seed. And they really are neck and neck. They're 25-14, and the Aces are 26-14. And both of those teams, you can tell, really want that 2 seed. I don't think the Mercury are going to get the 2 seed. I don't think that they're even having a possibility of that. So I would say most likely, if I had to guess, the Sparks would not make the playoffs. And I think when you're out, when Cameron Brink is out as she was, it is a tough slog to be able to say this is a playoff team. So that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna say about that.
How do you think the remaining seeds are gonna kind of play out? Do you think, do you kind of think that the way the table is set right now, right, with the top 4 and the bottom 4, do you think that that's how it will be? Or do you see any shuffling going on with home court advantage?
I'm looking here at the schedule. Looking at here at the standings. It looks like there's a dogfight going on between the Mercury and the Liberty, which if the Liberty, we'll talk about them in a second, they're just not playing good basketball right now, which is really horrible down the stretch. That's pretty much all that matters when you're talking about playoff contention and how deep you can go. The Aces are rolling. They've won 11 straight games, 12 straight games.
Right.
And that's all that matters when you're talking about being a championship contender. Playing your worst basketball down in September is fucking
It's not
awful.
what you want. It's not where you want to be.
I think the Valkyries, them being on a hot streak, is helpful. I don't really see this table changing that much. No, I don't. I think that the only thing that I could see flipping, depending on how things go, is the Fever winning 3/4 of their games if the Lynx do sit all their players the last game of the season.
Fair enough. I do think that when you look at both the Mercury schedule coming up and the Liberty schedule coming up, because we were saying, that's kind of the one, that's the one right there that could go, is because Liberty, actually, I'm going to ask this question in a second. But Mercury they have a schedule coming up that is very possible for them to win all 4 coming home, right? Fever, Mystics, Sun, Sparks. So if they do, that really kind of solidifies their spot, right? I don't know right now that anyone can touch the Lynx or the Aces in terms of going into this playoff picture. They seem like a head and shoulders above the rest of these teams.
I disagree.
You disagree? Okay, tell me who you think.
I think the Dream are pretty much identical as the Aces. Identical.
Okay.
You watch them play, everything goes down to the final second. The Dream were up 10 at home, or I think maybe actually they were in Vegas. They're up 10, and the Aces find a way to win. They're hungry. They're trying to get into the playoffs as a higher seed. But these 2 teams are perfectly matched for one another. I think that those 3 are the clear are the clear top three. And then when the Liberty are playing their best basketball, it's probably the Lynx, the Liberty, and then the Dream and the Aces, a slight tier below them. But I would not put the Dream on a different level than the Aces at all because they've been consistent all year.
Fair enough. Talking about the Liberty, right? How valuable is that difference between seed 4 and seed 5?
You're going to play the Mercury regardless in this scenario. The Mercury, I don't think Phoenix is that big of a home court advantage. I think what matters, though, is for the Liberty to have home court advantage. They've lost their last 4 road games, and they're a team where home court advantage means a lot in Brooklyn. You've got Ellie there. You got Ben Stiller there. You got Aubrey Plaza, who, by the way, is a Dream Dub Club member. Can someone get her to follow us?
Yeah, someone get her.
So I think that's what matters. It doesn't really matter that Phoenix has home court. It matters that the Liberty does not. So if I'm the Liberty, I'm doing everything that I can to fucking step up the caliber of play that's going on.
What do you need to see more of with the Liberty right now?
I think just defense. I think intensity. I think it's executing the way that we know that they can execute. Sandy Brondello is taking a lot of shit right now online. People are saying that she's having the worst coaching season of her career. What you may not know, Sarah, is that this is kind of the opposite for Sandy Brondello that we're seeing. Sandy Brondello, Liberty head coach, they always start off slow. The Liberty are one of those teams where it's like, oh, they kind of fucking suck. The first 15 games of the season, you're like, just hang in. Sandy Brondello, take some time to get everybody together. But this year it was like, this is the hottest team in basketball. They're off the championship run. They're 10-0. They're beating teams by a bajillion. They have the best net rating. They have the best offense. They have the best defense. They've got Sabrina cooking, Stewie cooking, John Quell's right there. You add Tasha Cloud, it felt like nothing could go wrong with the Liberty. And now at the tail end of the season, we're seeing some of the patterns that we've seen with the Liberty in the beginning of prior seasons. So they just need to clean it up. But it's not hard to imagine that it's difficult to have these things be precise when players haven't been in the lineup all year. You've had injury after injury. You've had John Quell goes down, Sabrina goes down, Breanna Stewart goes down, Sabrina goes down, John Quell went down twice, and you've got Marina leaving for Eurobasket. There's just been a lot of instability. You've had Sabali out, in and out of the lineup. And then you ended up losing a couple of players to the expansion team. So there was just different changes that have happened over the course of from last year to this year. And then also all those injuries. So they just have to figure it out by the time they play the Mercury. And I think that'll be a great tune-up series for them.
Stewie talked about this. She talked about the quality of basketball they've been playing. And she's not pretending. There's no pretending here, right? Like she's owning up to this is kind of shitty, right?
Yeah. I mean, let's play it. Let's play it and see what she said.
My first question is for Brianna. The team tonight gave up 39 points via second chances or off turnovers. So what was said after the game, and how can you as a group and as a veteran leader hold yourselves accountable with, as you said, opportunities running out at this point in the season?
I mean, I think what was said is, like, it's not good enough. It's not going to cut it, any of the things that we've done today. And honestly, for a while, is not going to get us to where we want to be. This is not a championship level basketball at this point, and everybody needs to recognize that and understand that we need to get there.
Yeah, I mean, you're just running out of time, right? And you know what the potential of this team is. They're a buzzsaw. And those are the scariest teams because you really don't know what you're going to expect. If they show up like they should, this is a fucking team that could go back to back. If they don't clean it up and they continue to fuck around, they're going to end up maybe getting bounced in the first round to the Mercury. That's a bad matchup. I said that 2 months ago. The Mercury are big. They're physical. Like Alyssa Thomas gets into your grill. They make it difficult for you. They're very pesky, and so if you're not coming with your best basketball, if you don't have a sense of urgency because you are a team that just won the title and you've been trying to quote unquote figure it out due to all these injuries, you could end up going home. And I think Breanna Stewart is right in the sense that, like, listen, it all starts with defense. And we saw what happened with the Aces when they cleaned their defense up and their rebounding up. They fucking went on 11-game buzzsaw situation. So that's exactly what you could say could happen for the Liberty. We just don't really know what version of them is going to show up. And it's very, very frustrating. And I think they fucking know it.
Mm-hmm. I think they do. And that's got to be extremely frustrating for a team of that caliber, like you said, who should not be dropping some of the games that they're dropping. It shouldn't be happening.
You should not be in a dogfight with the Connecticut Sun. I mean, I'm sorry. What are we doing?
You just shouldn't. Right. What are we doing? What are we doing here? By the way, the Lynx, I just want to put a quick note. The Lynx got to 31 wins, which is their highest ever season total, which again, it's more games this season. We know that, but blah, 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 blah.
Can we tell them about Gary?
But I was just about to say, I want to shout out Gary, our buddy Gary, who we met at the U.S. Open, who was
probably 65 years old. Probably 65.
No. He
Probably
had
70?
to have been in his, maybe even early 80s.
No.
He was in his
That
70s
is-
at least.
he-
70s
no.
at least.
Okay, we're not
He
gonna
was in
fight
his
about this.
70s. Okay, we're not
We're
going
not
to
going to fight about this.
An older man, an older gentleman named Gary. And we had to share a table with him for our food. Eating at the U.S. Open is quite an adventure because there's a lot of people and not a lot of tables. And so we had to share a table with a guy. And we said, Gary, we're so sorry. We're filming some content for our social media page while we're here. And he goes, oh, what's it about? And we said, oh, it's about women's sports. And he said, is it only for women or can men watch too? And we said, oh yeah, men can watch. And he goes, well, I'm a big Minnesota Lynx fan. And we were like, okay, Gary. And then he starts just rattling off names.
And then I say, oh, you like Nafisa Collier? I'm just giving him what I thought was a lob. And he's like, who? And I'm like, Nafisa Collier, MVP. And then he just rope-a-dopes us and is like, oh yeah, she missed 7 games due to injury, but she's back now. Really like what she's bringing. Love the stud buds. Love Heidemann, Natisha Heidemann, and Courtney Williams. And I love Caleb McBride. Can't forget what Caleb McBride brings at this time. This team, they just play the way that you want to play below the rim. Their spacing, the way that they flow. Love DeJournay. And you're like, I'm stunned. I'm absolutely stunned.
I think we literally were. The woman was too stunned to speak. Because we were like,
I said, do you want to do research for our podcast?
buddy.
Off
Gary
the top
was
of your head?
locked in.
No.
And he was like, they got totally hosed last year in the playoffs.
I said, are you going to go to the playoffs? And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm going. I'm absolutely going. So shout out to Gary. And shout out to
Gary.
Lynx.
Shout out to Gary. You know who we're not shouting out right now?
Is it
Angel City.
City Football Club?
It's Angel City Football
BB.
Club.
We're going to start calling them BBFC.
Broke Bitches FC.
Yeah, Broke Bitches Football Club. The broke, like literally we trade players for cash.
Yeah, so this is not, first of all, this is not a done deal. We don't know, this isn't a done deal. We have until Thursday, so we've got now 3 days to see if this happens. But it's looking more and more each day. There's an article coming out saying it's more and more likely that this Alyssa Thompson to Chelsea deal is going to happen. And let me tell you something that I read, because I did not know this until I read it. But apparently it might also be a 2-for-1, where they're taking Giselle and Alyssa both to Chelsea. For those who are not as dialed in on the NWSL, Alyssa Thompson, 20 years old, she is quite possibly, I would say, like, she is the upcoming star, right, of U.S. football. She is the U.S. national, she's on the national team. Her and her sister both on the national team. Her and her sister Giselle, they both played for Angel City. They both started playing for Angel City while they were still in high school. They have kind of had...
What's her sister's name?
Giselle.
Okay, keep going. I just wanted people to know that that's what
I had already
2-for-1
said it.
was.
You just missed it.
Yeah, but people don't know that Giselle is Giselle
is her
Thompson,
sister.
her sister. That it's not just another random player on
Or
LA.
another random player.
Yeah.
So Giselle and Alyssa, both sisters. Giselle, I think, is 18. Alyssa's 20. They really are. Like, they are the future of the NWSL. They are the young stars of the league. And they've been at Angel City. Alyssa has had, I want to say, 8 goals this season so far. And, I mean, probably I would say top 3 star, right, in the league, next to Trinity. And maybe top 2 star. Maybe she's, you know, as far as U.S. players go. Chelsea has, from the WSL, has made an official bid for Alyssa. I don't know how much money it is, but I can tell you it's more money than what the NWSL has to pay, based on the fact that we've seen these record-breaking deals of over $1 million, over $1 million, over $1 million. Alyssa's is going to be, if this happens, it's going to be well over. I think it will be the highest, in my opinion. I have a feeling it'll break the record.
2 million?
Maybe 2, maybe 2.
And then if Giselle, her sister, is in,
if it's a package deal, they could pay 2-3 million for the two of them to go together. And I want to talk about the issue that we're having in the NWSL, and we have beaten this drum a million times, but how many stars are we going to allow to leave and go to a different league before we say, maybe we should take a look at the salary cap?
But I want to go more granular than that, which is like,
Okay.
We already know that this is bad because it's just bad for NWSL. It's bad for American soccer. But for someone who's like a casual NWSL fan, the thing that I don't quite understand is why a team like Angel City, aka Los Angeles, the biggest market, the glitziest market in pretty much all sports, would essentially allow their franchise to collapse on itself by sending multiple marquee players away and allowing this team to be propped up by an aging star in Kristen Press who barely starts.
Who has maybe another year?
I don't know why you would do that. There's no other
It doesn't make
LA
any sense.
team that would ever do that. And are they punting on just
To me,
them as a
and this
franchise? Are they thinking about selling? Like, I don't know why you would do this. Besides,
This
you
is
have
what
cash
gets
flow
me.
issues and you need that money.
This is what gets me. And what I've never, and as a soccer fan, I struggle with when it comes to, we see with the WNBA, right? Like when they draft a player that they're going to build a franchise around. We saw it with Caitlyn, saw it with Paige. We've seen it with other big stars, right? But never in a million years do I think Paige, that Dallas is going to let Paige walk away if it's not working out.
I think they would.
If they're not, you think they would?
I
Okay,
think
well, we'll
they
not
would.
get into that right
I
now.
think they would.
But, okay. My point is that if you have Alyssa Thompson,
But Caitlin Clark, they would not. The Indiana
would not,
Fever
right?
would not.
would never let Caitlin Clark, you're building your team around her. We see it in the M Sports, right? Like the Commanders built around Jaden Daniels. Like it's, you build around your young stars. So why let Alyssa and Giselle leave?
And Paige Nielsen. I'm also thinking about the Paige Nielsen.
Oh, and they got rid
trade
of her last year.
for
Yeah.
cash. And they're getting rid of these players for cash. They're bringing nothing back in terms of young talent. All they are trying to do is put money into their bank account. That's fucking absurd.
Well, it's towards that salary cap, but it's like, here's the thing, and this is what I discovered, is that the WSL salary cap is 40% of the club's revenue, right? But because of the way that the WSL is set up, each of those clubs are attached to a men's club. So Chelsea Women is attached to Chelsea Men. So it's not just 40% of what the Chelsea Women bring in. It's 40% of what Chelsea as an entire franchise brings in. And if you add the Chelsea Men to that pot, all of a sudden you can pay 40% of what? $900 million? Like,
That's crazy. You can't compete with that.
You can't compete with that. And not only that, but you have owners, right? We see it with Michelle Kang, who have teams that they own in the US and they have teams that they own in Europe. And oh, well, Michelle Kang, I really want to keep Trinity Rodman. So Trinity Rodman's going to ask for $2 million at the end of this season. Well, I can't pay her that legally under NWSL guidelines. So I'm going to move her over to England because I can pay her that. And I would rather have her play for me on a team in the UK than have her not play for my team at all and just play against my team. And that's what's happening with this soccer. We have to look at the salary cap in women's soccer in the NWSL. And I know there's a lot of arguments about this because it's what allows parity, and it allows things like the Chicago Stars pulling a draw with the Washington Spirit last week, because we have parity in the NWSL because of the salary cap. But also because of the salary cap, you're digging a nail in your own coffin by allowing these players to leave.
The overall league itself starts getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And because the stars keep going elsewhere, it's like bucket full of crabs mentality. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Well, and you can be like, for example, the Pride just got Ovale, right? Like, they just got Ovale, and we're like, oh, wow, yes, great. A huge international star is coming to the league. Don't look over here, though, because we're going to send Alyssa and Giselle over to Chelsea, who, by the way, already have Naomi Girma. And, so now our 3 biggest American stars are playing for Chelsea. Emma Hayes, if you're listening, help us out.
I don't know that she can do anything about it.
Well, she used to coach Chelsea, so maybe she can get it to stop.
Okay. While we were at the U.S. Open, Team USA Women's Rugby played Team Australia, and that apparently was one of the best games that we've seen from Team USA in a while, and they were absolutely balling. 31-31 against Australia. This guy from The Guardian said, I am not exaggerating when I say this was one of the best games of rugby I've ever watched in my life.
Wow.
Just back and forth, ding-dong affair, both sides producing all these moments of magic, a little bit of error just to keep things interesting and open, and to tie Australia, pretty fucking impressive. Team USA technically still in the mix. They've got 3 points. Australia has 8 and England has 10. Australia beat Samoa 73-0. So they're 135 points behind Australia. So you would need a huge swing in the group. But I think in general, there's a lot of excitement around Team USA and what we can end up being. And going and fighting against a team that's known as one of the top rugby teams in the world, I think is pretty much a win for Team USA. So, I think Australia had a bunch of tackles, double the amount of tackles that Team USA had. Just in general, I think one of the more exciting matches. I wish I would have been able to see it live, but we were literally at the U.S. Open, and there's too many amazing women's sports going all at once. But and I think we're pretty much out of it. So this is one of the last times that we're going to be able to talk about women's rugby from Team USA perspective. We'll probably talk more about it from the England side moving forward as this tournament progresses. But just all in all, I think you just don't see this in any other sport, in the sense that you can get your ass whooped, and the team that just put their boot to your neck, they are laughing, they're smiling, they're embracing you. The toxicity that's normally in the sport is not really there as much. And the fans are very supportive. We had a bunch of people on our YouTube giving us all these tips about how we could be better rugby fans, which is why I want to continue to talk about the sport, because I feel like they did so much to embrace us. It's just a very community-driven sport that even on the women's side with WNBA and NWSL, you just don't have that level of hey, come into our tent. We know you know nothing. We know that you're not nearly as good as us, but it's kind of all one happy family.
I caution
It
the
is.
one happy. I caution the one happy family narrative because like we have only really seen it from like a very narrow lens, right? Like
Sure.
we've only seen it from like our one experience in this. Like for all we know, it could be
No,
brutal
there's not. The
somewhere
level
else.
of vitriol does not appear to be there between
Sure.
teams. There's
Okay,
not the
fair
same
enough.
level of like putting your nose in the fact that we just crushed you.
Give it time.
That's all the time that we have for this episode of Let Her Shoot. Thank you so much for downloading and subscribing. Thank you to everyone who has already become a part of our community, the community for Let Her Shoot. Thank you to our title sponsor, Remington. Nope, I mean Fuchs Financial. We love you. You're our sugar daddy, as it were, and it pays the bills. So we appreciate y'all. Next week, we'll have some more U.S. Open talk because by that point, we will have a winner. And I hope that our prediction for who we think is going to win comes true. Sarah, did you have a good time?
I had a great time.
I wish you knew more about what happened in rugby and helped me out there, but que sera, sera.
I can't know everything.
That's the story of my life, baby. That's the story of my life.
Can't know everything.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
Let her shoot.
We'll see y'all next time.
I'm a hot girl, I'm a hot girl. I get anything I want, this is my world. I make big moves in my big heels. Since the day that I was born, I've been a big deal.